Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please join us today in Srimad Bhagavatam study. We will be studying Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 63. Lord Krishna fights with Bāṇāsura. Let's get started with the prayers. Hare Krishna. Please continue. we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 63. Lord Kṛṣṇa fights with Bāṇāsura. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Sarasatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudirye
Tato Jayamudirye
Shravtam Swakatha Kṛṣṇa
Shravtam Sakatha Kṛṣṇa
Punya Shavana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto He Bhadrani
Hridayantastoya Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Sahritsatam
Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavti Naishtiki
Bhaktir Bhavti Nashtiki.
Hare Krishna. So please join us in the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10th Canto, chapter 63. Verse 1. So the title of the chapter is Lord Kṛṣṇa fights with Bāṇāsura. And Shukdev Goswami speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Parishit Maharaj has revealed how Aniruddha was taken to Usha's palace and she took her to inner quarters using the mystic power of Chitralekha. So her friend, identified who was, giving us a benediction. So Mother Parvati had given benediction to Usha that she would be able to see her husband in a dream on the 12th lunar day of Vesak. So Vesak Mas, she was able to see this dream, and in her dream she sees Uddhav. So when she wakes up after Uddhav suddenly vanishes from her dream, in her dream he suddenly vanishes. So she wakes up as how, where he has gone, and then reveals it to Chitralekha, who inquires about the person she was looking for. And so Aniruddha has been caught by Bāṇāsura. So let's continue from that point onward, as Aniruddha is missing in Dwarka. Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 63, verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukuvacha
Apashyatam Chanriruddham
Apashyatam Chaniruddham
Tadbandhunam Cha Bharata
Tadbandhunam Cha Bharata
Chatvaro Vashikhamasa
Chatvaro Varshika Masa
Vyatiyuranushochyutam.
Vyatiyuranushochyutam.
Please.
Up Shri Shukuvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Apashyatam Chaniruddham
Apashyatam Chaniruddham
Tadbandhunam Cha Bharata
Tadbandhunam Cha Bharata
Chatvaro Varshika Masa
Chatvaro Vashikamasa
Vyatiyuranushocitam
Vyatiyuranushochyutam. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shukvacha
Shukdev Goswami said,
Shukdev Goswami said,
Apashyatam,
Apashyatam,
who did not see,
who did not see,
Cha
Cha
and
and
Aniruddham,
Aniruddham,
Aniruddha,
Aniruddh,
Tat,
Tat,
his, Bandhunam,
Bandhunam,
for the relatives,
for the relatives,
Cha
Cha
and Bharata,
Bharata,
O descendant of Bharat,
O descendant of Bharat,
Parikshit Maharaj,
Parikshit Maharaj,
Chatvaraha,
Chatvara,
4,
4,
Varshikaha,
Varshika,
of the rainy season,
of the rainy season,
Masaha,
Masa,
the months,
the months,
Vyatiyuhu,
Latiyu,
past,
past,
Anushochatam,
Anushochatam,
who were lamenting.
who were lamenting.
Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said,
Shukdev Goswami said,
O descendant of Bharat,
O descendant of Bharat,
the relatives of Aniruddha,
the relatives of Anirudh,
not seeing him return,
not seeing him return,
continued to lament as the 4 rainy months passed.
continued to lament as the 4 rainy months passed.
There is no purpose, we will cover translation for next few verses. Thank you. After hearing from Narad the news of Aniruddha's deeds and his capture, the Vrishnis, who worshipped Lord Kṛṣṇa as their personal deity, went to Shoritpur. With Lord Balaram and Lord Kṛṣṇa in the lead, the chiefs of the Shatwata clan, Pradyumna, Satyaki, Gadar, Samba, Saran, Nanda, Upananda, Bhadra and others converged with an army of 12 divisions and laid siege to Bāṇāsura's capital, completely surrounding the city on all sides. Bāṇāsura became filled with anger upon seeing them destroy his city's suburban gardens, ramparts, watchtowers and gateways, and thus he went out to confront them with an army of equal size. Lord Rudra, accompanied by his son Kartikeya and the Pramathas, came riding on Nandi, his bull carrier, to fight Balaram and Kṛṣṇa on Bāṇā's behalf. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami states that the word Bhagwan is used here to indicate that Lord Shiva is by nature all-knowing and thus well aware of Lord Kṛṣṇa's greatness. Still, although Shiva knew Lord Kṛṣṇa would defeat him, he joined the battle against him to demonstrate the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that Lord Shiva entered the battle for 2 reasons. First, to increase Lord Kṛṣṇa's pleasure and enthusiasm, and second, to demonstrate that the Lord's incarnation as Kṛṣṇa, although enacting human-like pastimes, is superior to other avatars such as Lord Ramchandra. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti further states in this regard that Yogamaya, Lord Kṛṣṇa's internal potency, bewildered Lord Shiva just as she had bewildered Brahma. In support of this statement, the Acharya cites the phrase Brahma Rudradi Mohanam from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Of course, Yogamaya's job is to make fine arrangements for the Lord's pastimes, and thus Shiva became enthusiastic to battle the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim yakripatadaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can leave it there. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So here, that's okay. Just take it. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, in this chapter, again, this is a continuation of previous chapter. And in the first verse, as we heard, as how all the Vrishnis, and especially Lord Krishna's and his family members, because Aniruddha is son of Pradyumna, who is son of Lord Krishna and Rukmini. So, and he being the eldest son of Lord Krishna, everyone was worried. So as we heard earlier that Lord Krishna, he had 10 sons from each of his wives, so 16,108 wives, right? And then each of his sons had wives and they had sons from their wives. So it has been identified that over 1 million members were in Lord Krishna's family itself. And here the eldest son is missing. So again, a great leader, Pradyumna, who is son of Lord Krishna, his son is also missing. So again, not eldest son of Lord Krishna, but the eldest grandson of Lord Krishna is missing. The eldest son of Pradyumna is missing. Aniruddha is missing. And so at that time, 4 months of rainy season have passed. And all the family members are worried as where Aniruddha has gone. And Devashi Narad, he comes and he reveals that Aniruddha has been captured by Bāṇāsura. So Devashi Narad gives an elaborate description as how this happened. Yet it has been summarized by Shukdev Goswami because he had already covered that elaborate description early on. But for folks who have missed the class yesterday, we are going to cover that in brief. So Bāṇāsura was a devotee of Lord Shiva. And as a devotee of Lord Shiva, he had satisfied Lord Shiva so much that Lord Shiva gave him a benediction that he would have 1,000 arms. So he has 1,000 arms, right? Sastra Bahu. And when Lord Shiva was dancing, Tandav Nritya, so he's also known as Nataraj, king of the dancers. So at that time, when Lord Shiva was dancing, Bāṇāsura, accompanied with musical, instruments, by playing musical instruments, he pleased Lord Krishna by beating on various drums with his 1,000 arms and various types of drums, not just, beating on a single drum. And so Lord Shiva became very happy and he gave him benediction. He said, ask me whatever you want. And Bāṇāsura at that time requested Lord Shiva to become the protector of his city, Shonitpur. Lord Shiva, along with Parvati, came in Shonitpur and is acting as protector of Shonitpur and is residing there. So Bāṇāsura has a beautiful daughter, Usha. And she is at marriageable age, and once she visits Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati in their palace, and what does she see? She sees them embracing. So there is a transfer of desire, as we heard, that sometimes when someone sees taking pleasure in something, suddenly the transfer of desire comes in. And that's why we have to be very careful in engaging our senses in different kind of activities, and especially our hearing and our sight. So we should be careful what we hear and what we see and what we experience in our life, right? So the various knowledge acquiring senses, and of course tongue as well. Sometimes people, they taste something and they say, oh, this is very nice. And sometimes we may be making a mistake because Maya is very strong and people get bewildered. So we'll be covering some of those lessons as well, how Maya is bewildering, because Yog Maya is bewildering in this case, in this pastime. And so she inquires from Mother Parvati, who consoles her that she will have a husband, and then she's curious to know who will be her husband. And Goddess Parvati, she gives her a boon that on the 12th lunar night, when she will be dreaming, she will be able to meet her husband in her dream. And in her dream on the 12th lunar night, Usha dreams of Aniruddha, that he is there. And knowing that he is her husband, he is going to be her husband, she, wants to, embrace him. And so suddenly Aniruddha vanishes from her dream. And she wakes up saying, oh, my dear lover, where are you? So these are all Lord's pastime. Yogamaya is very nicely arranging everything. Yogamaya is Lord Krishna's internal potency. And so, as she wakes up, she is surrounded by her friends. So one of her intimate friend is Chitralekha. So Chitralekha asks, who is this you are looking for? And Chitralekha is a mystic yogini. She is an expansion of Yogbaya. So, she draws various pictures of various demigods and Gandharvas and so forth. And finally, she starts drawing pictures. Based on the description Usha gave, she starts drawing picture of Lord Krishna. And when she draws picture of Pradyumna, who is the original Cupid, Usha becomes bashful. She starts, showing shyness and little smile. But when she draws Aniruddha, Usha bends her head down with full bashfulness and she says, this is him. This is the man I'm looking for. And her quarters were so nicely protected, her palace was so nicely protected that she couldn't even see a man. So that is the surprising aspect. She had only seen Lord Shiva and her father and his associates. But here she had never seen Aniruddha. But understanding that this is her husband, Chitralekha, who is a mystic, goes all the way to Dwarka with the help of Devashi Narada. She is able to get Aniruddha from his bed to Usha's palace. And there Usha serves him, worships him and treats him just as a wife treats her husband, as per Vedic culture. And at that time, the guards start seeing, the guards were mainly eunuchs and women, so they start seeing that symptoms that Usha has been polluted, she has the company of a man. So they report it to Bāṇāsura, who comes agitated, and what does he see when he comes to the bedroom where Usha is sitting with Aniruddha and they are playing dice, Chaucer, right? So as they are playing dice, at that time, Bāṇāsura is agitated, yet at the same time, when he looks at Aniruddha, who has a dark bluish complexion, lotus-like eyes, big, mighty arms, dressed in yellow garments, and wearing a fresh jasmine spring flowers garland, garland of made from jasmine flowers, which has kumkum on it because of them, Usha had embraced Aniruddha. And so he thinks that she couldn't have found a better match in the three worlds. Yet agitated that his daughter has been corrupted by this young man, he asks his guards to capture Aniruddha. Aniruddha, only able to find an iron rod, picks it up and is standing like Yamraj, like Lord of the Death. And he is beating them up. So Devashi Narada is giving all this description that Aniruddha defeated all the soldiers and guards of Bāṇāsura. And he was coming out of the palace, and where Bāṇāsura used Nagpash to capture Aniruddha. And it has been described by Acharyas that Aniruddha could not have been captured being a Vishnu Tattva. It was only because of the pastime. Because earlier Lord Shiva had, when Bāṇāsura had approached Lord Shiva with becoming very proud of the power he has been given because of the 1,000 arms, and he was saying he's breaking mountains, and only and even expresses in a subtle manner his wish to fight with Lord Shiva. He says, I cannot find anyone else but you to fight with. At that time, Lord Shiva had rebuked him. So sometimes, a spiritual master, presiding deity, your worshipable deity may chastise you by saying that one day you will meet someone who's my equal. Now, Acharyas explained this very nicely, that Lord Shiva is Shiv Tattva, and Lord Krishna is Vishnu Tattva. So they are different, just like milk is different from curd, yogurt, right? So once milk is converted to yogurt, yogurt cannot be converted back into milk. So that's Shiv Tattva. Yogurt is Shiv Tattva. And milk is like Vishnu Tattva. So, and of course, Lord Shiva comes. So he is created by Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna is the origin, and he is the effect. He is the, he is produced, or he is created by Lord Krishna. So here, Lord Shiva says, one who is my equal. And for mathematicians, it's easier to understand. if you know what a rhombus is a four-side object, and two opposite sides are parallel in this case, and it's a closed figure. And all sides are of equal length. So a square is a rhombus, but not every rhombus is a square. So that's another way of looking at it. So here, Bāṇāsura is, he has captured Aniruddha. And Aniruddha allowed himself to be captured so that the statement of Lord Shiva comes true. So they stay valid. And what were the statements of Lord Shiva? That one day Bāṇāsura will be defeated by a person who's his equal. So here, that is being set out. And so Lord Kṛṣṇa, along with Lord Balaram, all the main leaders, and the name of Lord Kṛṣṇa's sons have been identified along with his commander-in-chief of his army, Yuyudhan. So those names have been identified as they go, and Satyaki, Yuyudhan is also known as Satyaki. They all go, so about 12 Akshahinis have been identified, 12 army of 12 divisions. And in Kṛṣṇa book, Srila Prabhupada talks about 18 Akshahini armies. So again, that's again given in Padma Purana and other Puranas elaborately. So over 3,936,600 man army. So this is the size of the army Lord Kṛṣṇa took to Shonitpur, the city of Bāṇāsura, and they started destroying all the general places. So in the old times, when someone would attack, they would not attack the civilians. That was a general code. They would attack the other army, and they would fight from army to army, soldier to soldier, and so forth. So here, as Bāṇāsura hears the news that the Yadavas, basically from where Aniruddha has come, because he has inquired from Aniruddha about his, belonging, which family he belongs to, and so forth, that they have come. At that time, Bāṇāsura asked his soldiers, who were equally capable, to gather, and he attacks with the army. So now, this battle between Bāṇāsura's army and Lord Kṛṣṇa army ensues. So as they are getting ready to battle, Lord Shiva comes on Nandi along with his sons. Who are his sons? Kartikeya. So imagine Kartikeya, who is the commander-in-chief of the demigods. He is coming. Along with Lord Shiva, and Ganpati is coming. And along with Lord Shiva, all these Bhutganas are coming, right? So all these ghosts, hobgoblins, Vetas, and so forth, all these witches and wizards, they're all coming with Lord Shiva to fight. And Bāṇāsura has his army. So he has his commander-in-chief, who's there as well. And Kṛṣṇa is there, who's also his general, and Kumbhand is his prime minister, he's there, and so forth. So all the two armies against each other. So this is reminding me of an incident where Srila Prabhupada, one of his disciples, asked him, Srila Prabhupada, Lord Shiva tried to protect Bāṇāsura and fought with Lord Kṛṣṇa. So Srila Prabhupada first he didn't hear, and then he just responded with "huh," and then the disciple repeated his question, but he rephrased it. He said that, did Lord Shiva try to protect Bāṇāsura? And Srila Prabhupada nodded smilingly, yes, you must protect. A father must protect his son. So that is the qualification of a protector. So Lord Shiva, considered Bāṇāsura like his son. He was a devotee of Lord Shiva. So devotee is, considered very close. So you provide protection as his worshipable deity. So Lord Shiva, he protected Bāṇāsura because as a father must protect his son. Even though father may be killed or even defeated, that is not the concern. The concern is that if the son or one who has taken shelter of your protection is under difficulty, he is anxious, then the protector, the leader, must act to protect his descendant. In another letter where sometimes some of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, they were becoming anxious as their children were not following Krishna consciousness, following the process. And so Srila Prabhupada, he wrote a very nice letter, and in the letter he is writing, so I'm paraphrasing some of the aspects that he has given there, where he is telling this devotee, she is worried that her son is not taking to Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada said, Maya is very strong, and sometimes it does happen that descendants, they don't follow what you expect. And just like Hiranyakashipu, who was a demon, he had an amazing son like Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj, he had his grandson who was Bali Maharaj. But Bali Maharaj had a grandson who is known as Bāṇāsura. So his name was Bāṇa, yet at the same time Asur is kept because of his demonic propensity. So it is the relationship with Krishna and Krishna consciousness is personal, are individual relationships. It doesn't mean that just because we are Krishna conscious would mean that everyone who's around us will become Krishna conscious. Yes, they have an opportunity to become Krishna conscious. Yet at the same time, they may not be inclined to be Krishna conscious because they could belong to one of the four categories. And Lord Krishna reveals these four categories who don't take to Krishna consciousness in Bhagavad Gita. Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhama maya pradgyana asurim bhavam ashritaha. That those miscreants who do not surrender to me are mudhas who are working like asses. Mudhas means asses, donkeys. They are working all their life like donkeys and they think that that is the purpose of their life. And then Naradhama, the most fallen of mankind, so 8.4 million species of them, 0.4, which is 4 lakhs of them are humankinds. And among them, there are different gradations, and the ones at the bottom, they don't surrender to Lord Krishna. And then the third category is Maya Aprat. So these are scientists and philosophers whose intelligence have been stolen away by material energy. Maya Aprat. Aparan kaliya hai. So inka, like those other category. And Maya has taken away their intelligence, kidnapped their intelligence. And Asurim Bhavam, people who are demoniac, and demonic propensity is given by a person who is thinking that I have become so strong and I have destroyed all my enemies, I have collected so much and I'll collect more, I will be the Lord of all that pervades and everyone will regard me, highly. So they are basically running for name, fame and glories. So those are the, these are the four categories. Mudhas, Naradhama, Maya Aprat, Jnana and Asurim Bhavam. So these four category of people, they do not surrender to Lord Krishna and they don't take to Krishna consciousness. So Lord Shiva has revealed this and now Lord Krishna has come. So Lord Shiva, he gets on Nandi along with his sons and all his Bhutganas, he is come to the battlefield along with Bāṇāsura coming with his, his Prime Minister Kumbhan and his Commander-in-Chief Kṛṣṇa along with his sons. So Bāṇāsura is coming with his sons as well. And so they are matched, it's said, and they are fighting. Now we also understand that Lord Shiva has come to the field because of two factors. So Veeras is also something that a devotee engages in with Lord Krishna to give him pleasure. So ras means pleasurable, essence. So here, fighting, having in battle, even with Lord Krishna, to give pleasure to Lord Krishna. That's why Lord Shiva is coming as a devotee of Lord Krishna. And then the second one is to protect Bāṇāsura. So that is there. And he knows that Lord Krishna will be victorious. Yet at the same time, who is Lord Shiva fighting with? He is fighting with Lord Krishna. So directly. So there is the pairing going on. His son Kartikeya is fighting with Pradyumna. Bāṇāsura's sons are fighting with Samba. Bāṇāsura himself is fighting with Satyaki. Lord Balaram alone is fighting with Kumbhad and Kupakarna. And so this great fight is going on. And Lord Krishna, just with the twang of his bows, he's got this Shangdhwaj. So he's with his bow, Lord Krishna, just by twanging his bow, he's scaring away the Bhutganas of Lord Shiva. And those who are staying, Srila Prabhupada explains very nicely, so all the Acharya's commentaries and information from Puranas have been actually captured in Kṛṣṇa book. So if you read chapter 63 in Kṛṣṇa book, you get to know of all this wonderful fight that is ensuing. And hearing this fight, because everyone is aware, because Devashi Narad, he just sent Lord Krishna along with Balaram with all those 18 Akshahanis to Shonitpur, the city where Bāṇāsura and Lord Shiva are residing. So he is going to the Devaloka and he is spreading this news that there is this great war, and in this fight, Lord Shiva is going to fight with Lord Krishna. And everyone is amazed that Lord Shiva against Lord Krishna. So this is going to be amazing because, never heard of before, never seen before. So all the demigods are coming, all the Gandharvas and Apsaras, they are coming in their airplanes. And they're hovering over this battlefield just to see how these two sides are fighting with each other. And they are seeing that these sides are very nicely matched. And Lord Shiva is fighting directly with Lord Krishna. And Lord Shiva throws many weapons towards Lord Krishna, as if it's like a shower of rain towards Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, with his bow and arrows, is able to subdue all of them. And he's able to destroy all of them. So match and overpower all the weapons. So Lord Shiva, he is throwing various kind of weapons and various kind of, he's attacking in various ways. It's given like he's throwing Brahmastra, which is like an atom bomb. And Lord Krishna, destroys it by matching it with another Brahmastra. Lord Shiva throws a air weapon. So in today's times, the only thing we have is fire weapons, right? That's why they are called firearms. In old times, in the Vedic times, and even in this particular time where this description is being given, there were arms of all kind of objects. So there are arms which are made, through wind. So again, they could cause tornadoes. And there were arms which were water arms. They could cause torrential rain. And there were arms, again, firearms, but they would actually make a shower of fire, not just a blast, but rather, they would cause burning coal falling from the sky and so forth. So various mystic divine weapons were there in the old times. So here, as Lord Shiva sends a wind weapon, which is causing a big hurricane, Lord Krishna, nullifies it by sending a weapon that, like a mountain weapon. So that stops the hurricane. And then Lord Shiva, as he's seeing all of his weapons, so he sends his Pashupatastra, right? So Pashupatastra is his main weapon he sends. So to match that, Lord Krishna gives his Narayanastra. So Narayanastra nullifies the effect of Pashupatastra. And at that time, Lord Shiva is exasperated. So he is bewildered and he is like, what should I do next? So this is where Lord Krishna gets an opportunity. And he sends his weapon that causes yawning. A person, who's attacked by this weapon starts to feel fatigued and starts yawning. So Lord Shiva starts yawning. He refuses to fight any further. So he's, sitting down on his bull and he's not fighting. He's just yawning and feeling fatigued and feeling tired because of the effect of the attack that Lord Krishna, he attacked him with this yawning weapon. In this time, as Lord Shiva is yawning, Lord Kṛṣṇa pays attention to the army of Bāṇāsura. So Bāṇāsura's army is also, composed of demons, and Lord Kṛṣṇa has appeared to deliver the weight of this earth. So he starts shooting and killing these. He starts shooting arrows, and with his arrows, Gada, his mace as well as his sword, he starts killing the army of Bāṇāsura. And at that time, Bāṇāsura, he is disturbed. He is fighting with Satyaki. Well, what has happened to the other parties? Let's also hear that. Lord Balaram, he has fatally injured the two main, generals in Bāṇāsura's army. Kumbhan has fallen on the ground dead. And Kṛṣṇa is also fatally injured, and he also falls on the ground dead. And seeing the main two generals of Bāṇāsura's army dead on the field, the army, Bāṇāsura's army starts fleeing away. So, because of the fear of Lord Balaram, and Lord Kṛṣṇa doesn't want them to just, flee away. So he is destroying all the soldiers and so forth. Kshatriya does not kill a fleeing soldier. So the ones who were fleeing away, they were not killed, but the ones who were on the battlefield, they were killed by Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. And Bāṇāsura, seeing that his army is getting destroyed, and who is destroying it? He is seeing that Lord Kṛṣṇa is shooting arrows with such amazing speed and using his sword and his gada. So as someone comes close, it's easier to shoot, kill them with a sword and gada, while shooting arrows for a person who is at a great distance. Bāṇāsura, he stops fighting with Satyaki and he starts, chasing Lord Kṛṣṇa. So on his chariot, Bāṇāsura is attacking Lord Kṛṣṇa, he is approaching. And this is also described very amazingly, that he has 1,000 arms, right? So in his 500 arms on his left side, he's holding bows, right? So 500 bows. And he has arrows from his right arms. So he has 2 arrows in each of the bow, it has been described. In Kṛṣṇa book, Srila Prabhupada says 2,000 arrows. Because in the Puranas it said twice than the number of arms. He has 1,000 arms. So that makes it 2,000. So that's why Srila Prabhupada is referring to 2,000 as the number. So here he has all these arrows and bows, and Lord Kṛṣṇa simultaneously, instantly, as he sees Bāṇāsura coming towards him, he destroys all the bows. So how does he destroy? By breaking their pratyancha, the thread. So all the bows are useless because there is no way you can pull the thread. It's been cut into 2. And Lord Kṛṣṇa also kills his charioteer, destroys his chariot, and Bāṇāsura is, helpless in this case, and he is ready to fight still, but he is helpless. He is like a sitting duck. And at that time, seeing him in this condition, Lord Kṛṣṇa, he blows his conch. And when Lord Kṛṣṇa blows his conch, this is like he's going to kill. And it just so happened that Bāṇāsura had been worshipping a demigoddess, Kotara. And so she had started, treating Bāṇāsura as her son. And seeing that Bāṇāsura's life is in danger, he's about to be killed in the hands of Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. So she appears naked in front of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Before, Bāṇāsura, she appears naked with her hair scattered. And Lord Kṛṣṇa did not like the sight of a naked woman, so he turns his head away. Closing his eyes, he turns his head away. And Bāṇāsura uses this as an opportunity to flee from the battlefield. So Bāṇāsura flees away from the battlefield, and in that state, Lord Shiva has had the opportunity to overcome the yawning effect of the attack that Lord Kṛṣṇa had imposed on him earlier. So Lord Shiva, this time, seeing that Lord Kṛṣṇa is about to kill Bāṇāsura, he uses his greatest weapon, Shivjwar. And Shivjwar has been described as coming towards Lord Kṛṣṇa. He has 3 heads. 3 legs, 6 arms, 9 eyes. So again, you can imagine 3 eyes per head, just like Lord Shiva has 3 eyes, right? Trinetra. And he's burning everything on its way. So his description is given as that at the time of annihilation, Shivjor is used to annihilate the universe by Lord Shiva. And the way it works is that, the heat is like that of 12 suns. So the heat becomes 12 times more than what currently the maximum heat of sun is. And everyone who faces this at the time of death, a man at the time of death faces a high rise of fever, right? Of temperature in the body because of the fever that is in the body at the moment of death. And so this is how this Shiv Jwar is approaching Lord Shri Krishna. And seeing that Shiv Jwar is approaching, he sends, Lord Krishna says, Vishnu Jwar, right? Sometimes also referred to as Narayan Jwar. So again, he is the original Narayan, he is the original Vishnu. So he sends his weapon, Vishnu Jwar, to fight with Shiv Jwar. Now, while Shiv Jwar is potent because of the high amount of heat, Vishnu Jwar has the potency of high amount of, coldness. So it's freezing. And when there is, fire and ice in combination, the fire becomes to die out as ice starts to burn. But this is Vishnu Jwar, so he's very powerful. And he is 4-headed. So the description is not given, but just to kind of like show that he's covering Shiv Jwar from all 4 sides and he's attacking Shiv Jwar. And Shiv Jwar is feeling tormented. He's feeling the effect, the cooling effect, which is taking away all the strength that Shiv Jwar has. And then he looks at Lord Shiva to save him. And Lord Shiva, in the presence of Vishnu Jwar, is unable to provide any support. He is unable to protect Shiv Jwar. So at that time, Shiv Jwar looks at Lord Shri Krishna. And this is where Shiv Jwar starts praying to Lord Shri Krishna. His prayers are very amazing. He is praying that, O Lord Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are below you. So he is identifying that he had approached Lord Shiva, but he could not provide protection. But Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are some amazing, prayers that appear, and they are addressed to different kind of folks. And here, this particular prayer is identifying that a person who is previously feeling very proud and has now felt the effect of Lord's, effect, that whatever he had is suddenly losing everything. So there are 4 kind of people who take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna. Artho jigyasi arthati jnanescha bhatashva. So Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita revealed to Arjuna, Chatur vidha bhajante mam jana sukritino Arjuna. Jana sukritino Arjuna. So Sukriti, 4 kind of pious men take shelter of me. And who are these 4 kind of pious and 4 categories of pious men who take shelter of Lord Krishna and become Krishna conscious? Artho. So one who is in distress. And then the second one is Jigyasu, one who is inquisitive, who wants to know, why am I here? What's the purpose of life? Why am I suffering in this material world? They are just inquiring inquisitively. So they take shelter of Lord Krishna. And then Artharthi. Artharthi is one who is seeking wealth, one who is seeking opulence. So they are also going out and they come to know that Lord Krishna is the most opulent. He is Sarvalok Maheshwara. He is the supreme proprietor of material and spiritual universes, of course. Then they approach Lord Krishna to gain more wealth as benediction. And Jnani, the one who has understood that this material life is a place of misery. It is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This material world is a place of misery as well as it is temporary. So even the happiness that we get here is temporary. And Srila Prabhupada explains that everything, sometimes we think that some things are auspicious, some things are inauspicious in this material world. But if we look from the material world perspective, everything is inauspicious. Nothing is auspicious. It is our mental concoction that in delusion,
which is caused by material energy, we think that something is auspicious, but everything is inauspicious. That's why we should take to Krishna consciousness, where everything becomes auspicious, because we are dovetailing everything in service of Lord Shri Krishna. Instead of previously, as in materialistic view, we are putting ourselves in the center and seeking satisfaction of our senses. And that's the definition of lust, when we try to satisfy our senses, and our family members and the society, their expansion. So we want, when we serve Lord Krishna, who is Rishikesha, master of the senses, then our senses are automatically satisfied. And in that mode, we continue to take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna and serve him, and that is the definition of love. So these four kind of people take my shelter. So Shiv Jwar has taken shelter of Lord Shri Krishna because he is distressed. He is about to be annihilated by Vishnu Jwar. And he is singing this praise that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead and you are all in all. And sometimes when someone is hearing these prayers, they may not be affected because they may be thinking that just because Lord Shiva didn't help him, he is changing his party. No, actually, Shiv Jwar knows that Lord Shiva himself is a devotee of Lord Krishna. He is always meditating on Sankarshan, who is always serving Lord Vasudeva and Lord Krishna. So here, in this mood, as Shiv Jwar starts to glorify Lord Krishna as how Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is above the three modes of material nature, and he is the cause of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, and how he pervades everything, and he is indirectly referred in the Vedas and so forth. Lord Krishna becomes merciful and he says, you do not have to be any more fearful of Vishnu Jwar. And so at that time, having received the protection and benediction from Lord Krishna, he pays obeisances and leaves the battlefield. So this is Shiv Jwar leaving the battlefield. In the meantime, what has happened is, Bāṇāsura, he had run away to his city. So he gathered various kind of weapons and another chariot he took, and he came back to the battlefield to fight with Lord Krishna. Because he is amazed that there is a warrior that I cannot defeat. And as Bāṇāsura comes to attack Lord Krishna invokes his Sudarshan Chakra. So the Sudarshan means one who displays all auspiciousness. Su is very, and darshan is auspiciousness, who displays it. So Lord invokes his Sudarshan Chakra and starts, as Bāṇāsura is attacking with various weapons, having nullified them, with Sudarshan Chakra, Lord Krishna is cutting off his arms. So he has received 1,000 arms, right, by the benediction of Lord Shiva. So his arms are getting cut. And at that time, Lord Shiva comes and starts praying to Lord Krishna. And Lord Shiva's prayers are amazing. And they have been repeated by Lord Brahma earlier. They have been also being identified by Lord Krishna himself when he's showing the universal form, as how Sanjay is describing the same form, Vishvarupa. So here Lord Shiva is revealing that Lord Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though you pervade all, and everything is in you, you are existing. So he is glorifying Lord Krishna in his Vishvarupa form. As how the earth is the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, how moon is his mind, how the sun is his eyes, how Lord Brahma is his intelligence, how the Prajapatis, the progenitors, are his, in his abdomen, and how the ocean is his digestive power in his abdomen, how the rivers are like his veins, how all the herbal plants and the trees are his hair, how the clouds are his, hair on his head, and so forth. He's describing. And he's also saying that how I appear as your ego. So again, that is a material temporary representation of universal form. So universal form, even though transcendental, the Lord is always transcendental, this universal form has been described in Bhagavad Gita as temporary in nature. It is only for the material manifestation. So when material universes are manifested, the universal form appears. When it is annihilated, the universal form disappears. So that has been identified. And as Lord Shiva is explaining that Lord Brahma is intelligence. Now intelligence in a mode of passion. Lord Brahma is authorized to manage the mode of passion. Lord Shiva is saying, I am appearing as your ego. So Lord, and our ego is, in conditioned life, it's called false ego because it's under the mode of ignorance. In the mode of ignorance, the ego becomes false ego. And why is it false ego? Because it is conditioned and thinks that this body is me. So it associates with the body and forgets about the constitutional position of the living entity. We forget about our true nature. Jivera Surupaya Krishnera Nityadas. So when we forget about our true nature and we associate with the body, then we engage in seeking sense gratification. That's where we start working like the asses, mudhas, and we don't take to Krishna consciousness. Or sometimes when we become very intelligent, we think that we have become very intelligent. We enter the stage of Maya Pradgyana, where intelligence has been taken away by the material energy and we don't take to Krishna consciousness. So Lord Shiva is saying that just like the sun is the cause of the clouds, and people, they look at the clouds, when the sky is covered by the clouds, they think that the sun is not out, right? They can feel, they can have a perception because there is light, but they cannot see the sun. So similarly, you are the cause of this material energy that dilutes all the living entities. And thus diluted, these living entities don't take shelter of your lotus feet. Next he identifies is that yet at the same time, myself, Lord Shiva himself, Brahma, and all the demigods and all the great sages, they are constantly worshipping Lord Krishna and taking shelter of his lotus feet. So he himself is identifying that he is a devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. So this is where sometimes we hear, and some of the philosophers, they try to create their own commentary as how Lord Shiva is, praying to the Brahman. But then in the very next phase, Lord Shiva is saying that there is this Brahman effulgence sometimes materialists are attracted to, but you are per Brahman. You are the cause of Brahman. So even that argument sometimes people give is defeated here. Because Lord Shiva himself is saying that you are per Brahman, you are the cause of Brahman. From you all this Brahman effulgence comes. And from you means you expand into as super soul and you enter in every living entity's heart. And so you pervade everything. And you are so merciful. So as he is glorifying Lord Krishna is pleased. And then he says that this Bāṇāsura is a great devotee of mine. So at that time Lord Krishna understands and he smiles and responds back to Lord Shiva. And here Lord Krishna is calling Lord Shiva Bhagwan, because this is to glorify Lord Shiva's position as the topmost Vaishnava. He is very pleased with Lord Shiva's service. He knows that Lord Shiva came to the battlefield first as thinking like as a father of Bāṇāsura, because he is the worshipable deity of Bāṇāsura. So he, as a protector of the city, he is carrying out his duty. Yet he is trying to satisfy me by giving me this mallow of Viraras, right? Chivalry. And he is fighting with me to satisfy me. Because in spiritual world, everyone is worshipping Lord in awe and reverence. There is no opportunity for Lord to fight. Here, Lord Shiva is taking this opportunity to please Lord Krishna. And having defeated completely, still, he wants to make sure that his devotee is saved. Bāṇāsura is saved. So here, Lord Shiva is pleading. So again, Lord Krishna says that Bāṇāsura is actually great-grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. He is son of Bali Maharaj, who is son of Virochana, and Virochana is son of Prahlad Maharaj. And I had given this benediction to Prahlad Maharaj that I will not kill any of his descendants. So there is nothing that Bāṇāsura has to fear. However, I have left him only with 4 arms. So previously Bāṇāsura had, he was born with 2 arms. He got 1,000 arms by the mercy of Lord Shiva, and Lord Krishna cut off his 996 arms, leaving him with 4 arms, so that he doesn't become so proud. Next, Lord Krishna says is that this is to destroy his pride and, of course, to satisfy Lord Shiva's statement. So he is carrying it out for Lord Shiva's satisfaction. And second, he says, I had to destroy his army because that was the burden on earth. So this was, his army was a burden on earth, so I had to destroy his army. And now Bāṇāsura does not have to fear me and fear death. So there are two benedictions Lord Kṛṣṇa gives to Bāṇāsura. He says that Bāṇāsura will never, grow old and never die. So that is where, and he would become a great associate, a permanent associate of Lord Shiva. So in Puranas it's revealed that Bāṇāsura becomes completely obliged. His pride is completely destroyed. And he is now looking at Lord Shiva with great awe and reverence, and further hearing that Lord Shiva himself saying that he is a devotee of Lord Kṛṣṇa, Bāṇāsura fully surrenders at the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa. He places his, his helmet, his mukut at the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and he's praying. And then he has his folks bring Aniruddha and Usha in a nice chariot, decorated just like for marriage, right? When you are, when you see a marriage procession going on, afterwards the groom and bride, they are taken out, then carried out in a nice decorated car or, palanquin and those kind of arrangements. So here, Bāṇāsura, he has brought, with his help of his associates, Aniruddha and Usha, nicely decorated, nicely dressed on a beautiful chariot. Shukdev Goswami reveals the benediction here as whoever hears the fight between the Shiv Jwar and Vishnu Jwar will not be affected by, will not be fearful of death. So that fear will go away. So we will become fearless of the old age and death. So those states that are very fearful. Because we understand that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rakhe Kṛṣṇa mare Kṛṣṇa rakhe ke. If Lord Kṛṣṇa wants to protect someone, who can, hurt him? And if Lord Kṛṣṇa wants to kill someone, who can save him? Now when Shukdev Goswami is speaking this to Parikshit Maharaj, some people wonder that Parikshit Maharaj is sitting for 7 days, 7 nights, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukdev Goswami. Couldn't Lord Kṛṣṇa protect him? Even Parikshit Maharaj had enough power to nullify the effect of the curse that Shingi, the small Brahman boy, gave him, the son of Shaunak Rishi. But at the same time, he took it, Parikshit Maharaj took it as wish of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So he is going with the flow as Lord Kṛṣṇa desires. He is saying that this is by providence coming, so I will embrace it. And Parikshit Maharaj is taking this so that Srimad Bhagavatam is born. So that is another benediction. Because of this, Srimad Bhagavatam is coming, which is for our age. It is a great benediction. It is like a rising sun after Lord Kṛṣṇa has left for his Golok Vrindavan. And by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, which is not different from Kṛṣṇa, we can get the benediction and association of Lord and his devotees so that we can become Kṛṣṇa conscious and go back home, back to Godhead. So this is also another effect when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, especially this chapter. And whoever hears about the fight between Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Shiva, remembers it every morning, not just becomes fearful, not just becomes fearless, so all fears are driven away, but also, gets an understanding to become a devotee. So again, understands that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. So it was very interesting that, in one of the Puranas, as we were reading the purport, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that one is free from old age. When he hears this narration, is free from old age and death. Well, that's a great benediction. So once you read this chapter and you keep remembering it every morning, you will not face death and you will not face old age. But in reality, little later on, it was revealed that we never have to fear death or old age, because as living entities we are eternal. It is only the conditioned body that has to face death and old age. So we actually already have this benediction, we just have to realize it. Just like Hanumanji, he had the potency to jump from Ceylon to, from Kanyakumari to Ceylon, Sri Lanka. But he did not know this. Jamvan as a leader reveals it to him, that he has this Ashtasiddhis and he can become bigger than the biggest, and he can jump over to Sri Lanka. So just like that, this chapter and the commentary of Acharyas, they reveal again and again to us that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And as spirit soul, what is our constitutional position? That we are eternal servant of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And as eternal servant of Lord Kṛṣṇa, it is in our favor to purify our existence so that we can engage and become Kṛṣṇa consciousness, become Kṛṣṇa conscious. And that process of Kṛṣṇa consciousness is being given by simply raising your hand and chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So how can you simply understand the fearlessness aspect? The benediction we get in this chapter is by understanding that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is praying to him, and Bāṇāsura is taking shelter of him. Who is a demon has now his pride completely crushed. He is not a demon anymore. He has become a devotee, and he is more devoted to Lord Shiva than before, and following the example of Lord Shiva. So this is Anusharan. He's taking shelter of Lord Shiva and following in his footsteps. So he is doing now all activities as Lord Kṛṣṇa desires. So he is bringing Aniruddha, and he is giving his daughter in charity to Aniruddha. And the whole army of Yadus, along with Lord Kṛṣṇa, leading it, and Aniruddha and Usha are coming. So of course, that Devashi Narad has already spread this news of victory of Lord Kṛṣṇa at Dwarka. So as soon as the residents of Dwarka come to know that Lord Kṛṣṇa is victorious and is bringing Aniruddha and Usha, they decorate the whole of Dwarka very nicely with festoons, and they are, Anaka and Dundubhi, they are different type of drums they are playing. Anak Dundubhi also happens to be the name of Lord Kṛṣṇa's, Lord Vasudev's father, Vasudev. So Vasudev is also known as Anak Dundubhi. So because at the time of his birth, the demigods and the Gandharvas, they played on this Anak and Dundubhi drums joyfully, that this is going to be the birth of a personality who would become father of Lord Vasudeva. So here, as Lord Kṛṣṇa returns, the whole Dwarka is very nicely decorated, and the roads are, smeared with fragrant water, and everyone is nicely dressed and welcoming, Lord Kṛṣṇa, who's bringing with him his grandson with his granddaughter-in-law, Usha, and they are married very nicely. And then this is where the chapter ends. So we learned some amazing lessons in these two chapters, chapter 62 and chapter 63 of 10th canto. Transfer of desire happens when we engage our senses in unwanted things, so we should be very careful what we engage in, because what we engage in creates an impression in our mind, and our mind in mode of ignorance is very easy to get bewildered and can cause our fall down. Second is we should not be proud, just like Bāṇāsura was very proud and even challenged his presiding deity, Lord Shiva. So we should be very submissive. We also learn that as protector, as leader, we should protect those who have taken our shelter. So if you are head of the household, a father has a responsibility to protect his children, a husband has a responsibility to protect his wife, and so forth. A teacher has a responsibility to protect his students. And we also hear as how by serving Lord Kṛṣṇa in a favorable manner, we can continue to progress in this journey. And remembering the fight between Shiv Jwar and Vishnu Jwar, we become fearless of death and the fever that arise at the time of death. And when we remember the fight between Lord Shiva and Lord Kṛṣṇa, we also become fearless of the old age and the death itself. And remembering the benedictions Lord Kṛṣṇa gave to Bāṇāsura, we take further shelter of Lord Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet and engage in devotional service. Hare Krishna. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Please join us for Narasimhadev prayers. Yes.
भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।